Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. We are within the full moon energy and within the final eclipse of 2019. The energies are already building, and that's kind of a understatement with what we've been going through for the last 2 weeks since the first eclipse in this rotation. Many of us have had an interesting couple of weeks as we tend to be very, very tuned into Mother Gaia. I know that I have with all of the earthquakes and freak weather systems that have creeped up over the last couple of weeks. It's been a very interesting ride, and it doesn't seem to be quitting. As of this morning, Australia had one of the biggest earthquakes in the last 30 years up on the north eastern side, if you would. Indonesia also rocking a 7.2, I think it was, might even have been a 7.4. So Mother Nature continues to do her thing all around the Ring of Fire. And of course, other places across the globe. But the Ring of Fire always seems to have the most bang for your buck, if you will, when it comes to earthquakes. And the last couple of weeks has been no exception. And if any of you are like me, it's been a very interesting ride. There have been several times that I can't walk a straight line because an earthquake is happening somewhere on the planet and my system feels it. And I bet yours does on some level as well. And so we sit in this energy of this beautiful eclipse and this eclipse season, which is the last one in 2019. The next eclipse season will be in January 20th and 21st of 2020. Yes, we're rounding the corner to the 2020 date and frequencies. And this is all really, it's a continuous evolution. It's a continuous process. And these eclipses that have happened in the last 2 weeks have really been a cosmic influence push, whatever you want to call it, to really shake things up again. The status quo is not where we want to be. The status quo is not taking us to the future reality that we are all envisioning and working towards. And so this shakeup that we've all been feeling, Gaia, and personally on our own processes and our own evolution is absolutely necessary. The universe, our higher selves, the whole ascension process has really gone into high gear. And we have been asked to really shift and change again. Our personality doesn't always particularly like it because our personality wants to stay status quo. Yet our higher selves are really directing, pushing, nudging very loudly to shift and change patterns, belief systems, thought processes, ways that we show up in the world, ways that we think about ourselves and those around us in really deep and profound ways. Once again, because as we say, the ascension is an evolutionary process, and that means to evolve. And that means to evolve on all levels, not only physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, on all levels. We're being asked to shift, to change, to evolve, to think outside the box, to work from higher perspectives and higher understandings. And so when we look back, it's been 6 weeks, 7 weeks now, when we started into this cycle at the beginning of June, where we came into a really beautiful cosmic alignment, one that is very rare, and really started this, again, eclipse season that took us through the full moon last month, the solstice energies into the eclipse and now finishing in this eclipse, it's been really super focused on moving us into a brand new timeline. When we moved into the noon sphere back in the first part of June, we literally got moved into a new timeline. And what is a new timeline? I mean, what does that really mean? Because there's so many timelines happening simultaneously, simultaneous timelines going on all the time. But when we talk about collectively moving to a new timeline, we're literally talking about moving into a new platform. It's like, I always kind of envision it the way I think about it, and it might be fundamental for many of you, but it's almost like moving from off Broadway to Broadway. If you're doing a play, if you're an actor in a play, and that's kind of a rudimentary thought process, but it's really about, we've been doing our best here on this stage, but now it's time to move to a grander stage, to a platform, to a thought process, to a trajectory that is even better than the last. And so timelines are continuously evolving, and we're all moving primarily on different timelines because we're all a part of the whole, yet we're all vibrating at different oscillations. However, when the collective, and when I'm talking about the collective again, even, I'm really talking about those that are on the conscious path. Those of us who are the light workers, because we are the ones who are jumping timelines and then pulling, maybe that's a good word, guiding, setting the trajectory for the rest of humanity to follow. But when we talk about moving to a new timeline, we're talking about the collective of the light workers, the conscious beings on the planet, those new younger generations that are coming in so much more awake than those of us in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s right now were able to come in because of all of the shifts and changes we've done to the blueprint. They're able to come in and be much more conscious because of the work we've done over the last century and half century for most of us alive at this moment. And so the timelines that we're jumping are literally groups of us that are the light workers, the conscious beings, those that have enough light quotient in their physical form. We are the ones that are moving into higher timelines. And when I say higher, it's higher, lower, better than the others. Well, yes, because we're expanding the way in which we co-create. We're remembering the innate power and empowerment that we have to break out of the illusion and co-create a different reality, one that is very different than what most of the world is still currently locked into. And so jumping timelines is all about the collective consciousness of those that are vibrating at a higher light quotient are able to move collectively together. And that's what's happening right now. We're all experiencing our own individualized movie, if you will, within this holographic reality. But enough of us are moving into a unified collective vibration and thought process that we're able to collectively move into a different timeline trajectory. And that simply means that we're all on the same page, that we're all vibrating at a higher oscillation point. We're holding more light as a collective and consciously choosing to raise into a higher timeline. And along with that comes all of the grid work and all of the shifting that Mother Nature, Gaia, is doing as well to support us in that process. And all of the earthquakes, all of the earth changes that have happened, all of the freak things that have gone on in the last couple of weeks are all part of that process, because right now, Gaia's internal neural network process, her platform, her neural pathways are all shifting once again. And many of us refer to those as the ley lines in the planet. And that is part of the neural network for sure. And so as that shifts, we as divine humans, as awakened souls, actually can connect directly into that neural network that is shifting and changing. And that allows us the foundational piece to then stream in higher levels of consciousness, higher levels of wisdom and connection to each other, connection to the magnificence of our co-creative power as a collective and individually, and to really establish a cohesiveness within this group on the planet. And this is not to say that we're excluding others. They just simply don't have the light quotient to tap into what we're tapping into. They haven't reached that level of evolution yet. And that's why you hear many talk about the split in the timelines, because it's literally happening. And that's really, it's really necessary, because it's not that we're leaving those behind per se. It's one way of looking at it, but it's a very limited way of looking at it. What it truly is that we are evolving, and we're building the bridges, we're building the trajectories for humanity to follow in the future. So I hope that helps you understand what is going on right now. And when we come into these eclipse seasons, it is really a powerful time cosmically for Gaia to really do a big shift in her own evolution, so that those of us upon her can also ride that wave and tap into that evolution and make really quantum leaps. I'm not sure I really would call this particular eclipse season a quantum leap, but it's definitely a big jump into a new trajectory timeline. And all of us that are consciously participating, those of us who are paying attention and understand the bigger picture, are part of that new timeline. And so that's where we are right now in the relative experience of these eclipses and all that has transpired and will continue probably for the next 4 to 5 days. I would probably venture to guess that there will still be more earthquakes, still be more weather terminology or weather things going on that are also supporting these shifts in Gaia's physical and energetic bodies. And so just be aware of that and understand, our hearts go out to those who are affected by these planetary events. But in the big picture, we need to understand that it's necessary, and it's just simply Gaia shifting herself. And we're doing our best to ride along with her and make that shift and change. And so that's what's going on. Woo, I can feel it right now. I'm starting to feel very wobbly again. I wouldn't be surprised if there's aftershocks happening at this exact moment going on across the globe that are kind of big. So you may be tapping into that as well. And it's really important to stay in your center and see the bigger picture of what's really going on, and be a supporting factor in this rocking and rolling on the planet.